Hallo Leute, welcome back to my channel Deutschflix, where your German improves faster than your Duolingo streaks disappears.
Die Katze ist klein. The cat is small. Wait, what happened to my streak? It's gone. Okay, never mind. Let's continue with the next lesson.
And in today's lesson, we are gonna cover possessive pronoun im Dative. We've already covered them in nominative and accusative case at A1 level. So these are the words that show possession. For example, my, your, his, her. In German, mein, dein, unser, euer, etc. So when I say mein Chef ist hilfsbereit, which means my boss is helpful, now here my boss is a subject, which is in nominative case. But when I say ich treffe meinen Chef im Büro, I meet my boss in the office. Now here you can see mein Chef is getting changed to meinen Chef because this is in accusative case. This is the direct object in a sentence. But we don't know it yet. How do we say I help my boss? Now the verb to help, which is helfen, is dative case. So we have to write my boss in dative case. So I'll first give you a quick revision of what we know, then we'll see how they change in dative, and finally we'll practice with examples. Sind Sie bereit? Are you ready? Los geht's. Okay. So on this page, I have written all the personal pronouns on the left hand side, ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie, sie. And correspondingly, I have written their possessive pronouns. And they all are in nominative case. But why do we have two words for my, two words for your, two words for his, etc.? Reason being, we have to refer the first column for nouns which are masculine or neutral, and we will refer the second column for the nouns which are feminine or plural. So we do a minor change, we just add e, meine, deine, sein, euer, etc. But in case of euer, you have to simply memorize it. We do not add extra e, but we swap the last two alphabets. It is euer, just to make the pronunciation easier. Now trust me, if you can easily memorize this table, now learning possessive pronouns or knowing possessive pronouns in accusative and dative becomes easier. You can easily create the table. If you don't believe me, I'll show you how we can create table in all the cases. So firstly, we will create the definite article table in all the cases. So we have der, das, die, and in accusative case only one gender gets changed, der to den, and here we have no change, das, die, and in dative case der and das, they both change to dem. Pronunciation is dem and not dem. Now here d changes to der and d changes to den plus n. What is the significance of this n? This gets attached to the noun. If you forgot this thing, then wait for the examples. Now what we'll do is we will create the table for ich. So possessive pronoun that we have for ich is mein and meine. Mein for masculine neutral and meine for feminine plural. Okay, so we are creating table for mein and meine, where mein we use for masculine and neutral and meine we use for feminine and plural. Now what happens in accusative case? In accusative case, der gets changed to den. Now what will happen to mein? It changes to meinen. And here what do? We write it as it is. Now same you have to do. We will write here mein For feminine say meine, and for plural also meine. Now in dative case, der changes to dem. So our mein will be changed to meinem. Neutral also it will change to meinem. Now D changes to der, so our meine will be changed to meine. As in we will have er at the end. And in dative case, D changes to den plus n, so our meine will be changed to meinen plus n. Now if you have understood this, then you have to create a table for du, and the possessive pronouns are dein and deine. And I'll show my table in 5 seconds. You can pause the video. Okay, so we have dein for masculine and neutral, deine for feminine and plural. In accusative case, der changes to den, ein to einen, kein to keinen. So my dein will be changed to deinen. And here we will have no change. In dative case, der to dem, ein to einem, kein to keinem, and dein to deinem. And in neutral also deinem, in feminine deine, and in plural deinen plus n. If you know the definite article table, basically these der, das, td, now making possessive pronoun table is easy peasy for you. So for now, you just have to memorize this table. Basically, what is the possessive pronoun for er? It is sein, seine. And how does my definite article table look like in all the cases? Now you can easily make a table for sein, seine, ihr, ihre, sein, seine, unser, unsere, euer, euer, ihr, ihre, ihr, ihre. But what I'll do is, I'll make the table for euer and euer, so that you do not make spelling mistake. So we have euer for masculine and neutral, and euer for feminine and plural. In accusative case, this euer will be changed to euren. As in, I will swap the last two alphabets and just add n. Euren. Now here we will have no change. We'll just copy paste. Euer, euer, euer. In dative case, now this will be changed to m. Eurum, eurum, euer, and euren plus n. Now the reason why we not add e here and just swap the last two alphabets is it gets easier to pronounce this word euer, because if I just add e here, now pronunciation gets very slow, euer, but we simply say euer. Okay, and now we will discuss examples in dative case. Just in case you struggle with nominative, accusative and dative case, understanding them, you can watch my video on the case system at A1 level. Quick recap: nominative is for subject of a sentence, accusative is for direct object of the sentence, something that receives the action directly, and dative is for indirect object, something that receives the action indirectly. So it's easy to identify dative case. You just have to answer to whom or for whom. For example, when you say, I am buying my mother a dress. Now what are you buying? A dress. That will take accusative case. But for whom are you buying? For your mother, right? So that will come in dative case. So you try to answer to whom, for whom. Now, this is one thing about dative. There are also certain verbs and preposition which are strictly dative in nature, and there's no any logic behind it. You have to simply learn by heart. So we'll concentrate more on such scenarios, such verbs and prepositions. Okay, so we will try to translate these sentences. I give my mother a dress. Firstly, we need to understand the case, what will take what case. So I is in nominative case, this is the subject. A dress is the direct object which will take accusative case. And we have to write my mother in dative case, because try to answer to whom for whom, you will get my mother. So we'll say ish, to give is gebe, ish gebe. Now firstly I'll write my mother as it is, like literal translation. So my mother literal translation will be meine Mutter. Now Mutter is D. And how does D change in dative case? It changes to der. So how does meine change in dative case? It will change to meine. Ich gebe meine Mutter, and we will write a dress in accusative case, ein Kleid. So Kleid is das Kleid, and das remains das in accusative case. So similarly ein remains ein in accusative case. Now second example, she answers the children. Now here we have to be careful to answer, which is antworten. It is strictly dative verb. No logic, you have to learn by heart. So translation will be sie antwortet. Now the children literally will be die Kinder, right? Now how does die plural change in dative case? It changes to den. And then an extra n gets attached to the noun. Sie antwortet den Kindern. Now if I want to say she answers my children, so answer will be, I just have to write here meinen, and that's it. Sie antwortet meinen Kindern. Next we have they congratulate her husband. So gratulieren is the verb which is strictly dative in nature. So we'll say sie gratulieren. Now her husband literally will be ihr Mann. Now what is the original article of Mann? It is der. How does der change in dative case? It changes to dem. So how does ihr change in dative? It will be changed to ihrem. Then we have he thanks our daughter. So thanks, which is danken, it is strictly dative verb. So we'll say dankt. Now our daughters literally will be unsere Töchter. By literally, I mean you go to Google Translate and write our daughters, you'll get unsere Töchter. There are also umlauts above O. Now what happens to D in dative case? It changes to den plus n, right? So unsere will be changed to unseren, and we will attach extra n to the noun. Dankt unseren Töchtern. Now next Seite. That is the gift from my father. Now here the word for from is von, and which is strictly dative preposition. So we will say das ist das Geschenk von. Now my father literally will be mein Vater. And how does der change in dative case? To dem, and mine will be changed to meinem. Then we have she travels with my mother. Now here the word for with, which is mit, a dative preposition. So we'll say sie reist mit. Now my mother literally meine Mutter. Now how does die change in dative? To der. Meine will be changed to meine. Sie reist mit meiner Mutter. Or if you have written fährt, that is also fine. Sie fährt mit meiner Mutter. Now if you're new to my channel, just to let you know, we have already covered the case system in German language in our A1 playlist. So I've created video on nominative and accusative case and dative case. And we have also discussed accusative prepositions and dative prepositions. And from that, I just took two prepositions, von and mit. And even a couple of verbs here. Answers, congratulate or thanks. In German, antworten, gratulieren, danken. So if you want to know more of such verbs or more of such prepositions, you can watch my videos. So now it's time for your practice exercise. Erkennen Sie die Lücken. So whatever you're supposed to fill is already given to you in brackets. And you have to fill everything in dative case. But you should know the reason why. So it would be better if you just write it why you're feeling dative case for every question. And I'll show my answers in 5 seconds. You can pause the video. So ich helfe Luca chef, we have to fill my. Firstly, the words for my. Mein for masculine neutral, meine for feminine plural, right? So chef is der chef, masculine. Helfen is strictly dative verb. Now how does der change in dative? To dem. So how does mein change? Meinem. 2. Sie spricht mit Luca Großeltern. We have to fill her, which is ihr or ihre. So Großeltern is die Großeltern. We will go with this one, but in dative case. So it will be changed to ihren. Großeltern. Since there is already n at the end, there's no point of attaching extra n. No need. And why are we filling dative? Because of strictly dative preposition mit. 3. Kommt aus Luca Zimmer. So the words for his, sein or seine. Zimmer is das Zimmer. So das changes to dem. Sein will be changed to seinem. Why are we filling dative? Because of strictly dative preposition aus, which means from or out of. So he comes from the room or out of the room. Nummer 4. Die Jacke gefällt Luca Freunden. Now gefallen is the verb which is strictly dative, which means to please or to like. So the jacket pleases my girlfriend. So Freundin is die Freundin. It will be changed to der in dative. So it will be meine. Nummer 5. Wir gratulieren Luca Lehrerinnen. So the words for are, first of all, unser or unsere. Now Lehrerinnen is die plural. So we can go with this one. But in dative case, because of gratulieren, which is strictly dative verb. So die changes to den plus n, unsere will be changed to unseren plus n, but there's no need of attaching extra n at the end. We already have one. Okay, now it's time for you to level up and solve this practice exercise. Now this exercise is not that easy because you have to decide the case also, whether you will fill it in nominative, accusative or dative. what you have to fill is also something that you have to decide based on the context given to you. As you can see, I've not written in the brackets what you're supposed to fill. I can maybe explain you the first question. Die Biologielehrerin bringt Lücke Schülern eine Maus mit. Okay, so let's decode. The biology teacher brings along a mouse for the students, school going students, is the meaning of the sentence. Now decide what you have to fill. Now these are the students that belong to biology teacher, right? So that means she brings along her school going students a mouse. So we have to fill here her. Now the word for her, it is ear for masculine neutral and ear for feminine plural. And this is a nominative case, by the way. We have to decide the case. Now bringen is being conjugated according to this part, right? That means this is the subject of the sentence. Subject is in nominative case. So one thing is for sure, we will not fill it in nominative case. Now what is my direct object here? What is she bringing along? She's bringing along a mouse. So this is in accusative case. Now try answering for whom or to whom. For her students, right? So that means this part will come in dative case. Now Schülern is D plural. So in dative case, D plural changes to dein plus n, right? So we will write euren, and extra n is already attached. Die Biologielehrerin bringt ihren Schülern eine Maus mit. So do it step by step. Firstly decide what you have to fill and then decide the case. So you can pause the video and we'll discuss this in 5 seconds. Maybe I should also help you by giving the original article. So der Freund, die Pluralübungen, die Vokabel Plural, das Haus, der Opa, das Kleid, der Vater, die Mutter, die Freunden. Now it would be easier for you. Nummer 2. Hilfst du Lücke Freund bei den Hausaufgaben? So it's like, do you help? It would be your friend with the homework. So we have to fill here your. Now what is the possessive article for do? It is dein or deine. So we figured out what we have to fill. Now case. Helfen being conjugated according to do is in nominative case. Helfen is strictly dative verb. That means this will take dative case. How does der change in dative? To dem. How does dein change in dative? To deinem. Nummer 3. Habt ihr Lückeübungen gemacht? So it's like, have you done exercises und Lücke Vokabel gelernt and learnt vocabularies. Now possessive article for ear, it is euer or euer. So one thing is for sure, we will go with euer, but in what case? Case will be accusative, because machen and lernen, they both are accusative verbs and these are direct objects. So we will go with habt ihr eure Übungen gemacht und eure Vokabel gelernt. Have you done your exercises and your vocabulary? Nummer 4. Wir haben ein Haus. We have a house. Das ist, now possessive article for wir, it is unser or unsere. Now sein is what kind of verb? It is nominative verb. So we will fill it in nominative case only. Unser, das ist unser Haus. 5. Die Kinder besuchen den Opa. So just by looking at den here, we can easily guess that besuchen is the verb which takes accusative case. This is the direct object. The children visit the grandfather or grandpa. So grandpa is the direct object. So one thing is for sure, here we will fill accusative case, but what is the possessive article for Z or for Kinder? It is ihr or ihre. Their, right? They visit their grandpa. So we will fill it in accusative case. It will be ihren because their changes to den in accusative case. Nummer 6. Tina kauft ein Kleid. She buys a dress. Das ist, obviously this dress belongs to Tina. What is the possessive article for Tina? It will be ihr or ihre, as in her. But case will be, we already discussed, sein is nominative verb. So fill it in nominative case. Das ist ihr Kleid, that is her dress. 7. Stefan und Peter antworten Lücke Vater. So they answer father. They answer their father. Once again, we will fill here either ihr or ihre. But case, antworten is strictly dative verb. So my case will be dative ihrem because der changes to dem in dative. Nummer 8. Hilft Lücke Mutter. Now helfen is dative. And possessive words for it is sein or seine. Now we will go with seine but in dative case. Hilft seine Mutter. He helps his mother. Denn sie schreibt Lücke Freundin eine E-Mail am Computer. Because she is writing her friend an email on the computer. Okay, so what we have to fill here is her friend. So it will be either ihr or ihre. We will go with ihre because Freundin is die Freundin, feminine. But case will be dative. Basically an email to whom, for whom. So that will take dative case. So ihre will be in dative. Ihre Freundin eine E-Mail am Computer. Let's decode the last sentence maybe. Schreiben being conjugated according to Z. Z is the subject. Subject is in nominative case. Now what she is writing is the direct object. So eine E-Mail is in accusative case. So this portion is left with no choice, but it has to come in dative case. There are legit multiple ways of understanding the case system. If you're struggling with it, then maybe you can go to my A1 playlist and watch the videos on the case system. That's a wrap on Possessive Pronomen im Dative. Actually, we covered this topic in all the cases: nominative, accusative and dative. If you liked this video, then do subscribe to my channel for more of such content. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.
Like and subscribe.